All right, let's dive in. Today, we're talking about something that's, well, a massive headache for just about every mining engineer out there. You know the drill. How do you get all the scattered, disconnected pieces of a mine plan to actually talk to each other? We're going to look at a seriously powerful toolkit that promises to bring it all together in one smart workspace. So, let's get right into it. And really, this is the question at the heart of it all, isn't it? If you're in mine planning, you live and breathe this stuff. You're thinking, okay, how do I design this blast so it's effective, but without, messing up the slope stability? And on top of all that, the whole thing has to make money. It is a massive, high-stakes juggling act every single day. Yeah, that juggling act is really the crux of the problem for modern mining. Think about it. You've got blasting over here, geotechnics over there, then ventilation, economics. It's like they're all in their own separate silos. Each one has its own software, its own data, its own experts. And trying to get them all to play nicely together, it's a constant battle, and the stakes couldn't be higher. So, what's the solution to this mess? How do you break down those silos? Well, the answer is a single intelligent workspace. And that is exactly what this integrated mining engineering suite is designed to be. I mean, for what feels like the first time ever, all of these critical fields are finally under one digital roof. You're not bouncing between 5 different programs anymore. Imagine this. Your blasting parameters instantly inform your geotechnical analysis, and that result flows right into your economic models. It's all happening in the same space seamlessly. And that's the whole point, right? It's all about accessibility and true integration. The core idea here is simple but powerful. Every single tool you need, every calculator, is right there at your fingertips. We're talking one tap away. No more digging through confusing menus, no more exporting a file just to import it somewhere else. It's just there. Okay, so that's the big idea, but what does it actually look like when you're using it? Let's take a quick spin through the toolkit. I'll show you a few of the key modules so you can see how this whole thing really comes together. First up, you've got the command center, the operational dashboard. Seriously, think of this as the mission control for your entire mine plan. All your key metrics, your KPIs for economics, for stability, for blasting, you name it, they're all right there. You can see the health of your entire operation in a single, clean view. And from that big picture view, you can dive right into the details. Let's look at the economics and life of mine module. This is where the rubber meets the road, where you figure out if this project is actually going to work financially. You can model your cash flows for the entire life of the mine, and this is huge, you can stress test your plan. What happens if commodity prices tank? You can find out. Because let's be real, none of that profit matters one bit if the mine isn't safe. That's where the geotechnical and hazards module comes in. This is absolutely critical. You're evaluating slope stability, classifying your rock mass, and figuring out the best support strategies. This is how you prevent really dangerous stuff like rock bursts. You know, those sudden, violent rock failures? This module is literally the foundation of a safe mine design. And here is a perfect example of that integration we were talking about. All that crucial geotech data, it flows directly into the advanced blasting module. So now engineers can design blast patterns and control vibrations that aren't just powerful, but also smart and, importantly, compliant with all the key industry standards. Okay, now this is where things get really, really cool. We're talking about the Scenario Simulations Lab. Forget just looking at numbers on a spreadsheet. Here, you can run actual physics-based simulations and see the results in 2D and 3D. Just imagine it. You can literally watch how a blast is going to fragment the rock or see how air will flow through a ventilation system you just designed. You get to see if it works before you ever break ground. It's a game changer. So, we've seen the bells and whistles, right? But what does all of this actually mean for an engineer out in the field making tough calls every day? Let's shift gears and talk about the real-world impact and how this thing is actually changing the game. So how do we know this actually works? Well, look at this number. Over 1,500 simulations have been run on this platform. This isn't some beta software or a theoretical concept. This is a proven, road-tested suite that engineers are actually using day in and day out to make their most critical decisions. And you don't have to take my word for it. This quote from a lead mine planner at Western Coalfields really says it all. Listen to this. The new Simulation tab lets us validate a blast design, check ventilation impact, and review slope performance in one pass. In one pass. That's the power of integration right there. And the result? That's days of iteration saved. days. That's not just a small improvement, that's a massive leap in efficiency. So, what's the secret sauce? Why are planners actually choosing this suite? Well, it really comes down to four key things. First, it's built for field engineers. The interface just makes sense when you're on site. Second, your data sticks around. You've got a clear audit trail for everything. Third, it's compliant by design. The rules are baked right in, so you're not second-guessing yourself. And finally, it's made for teamwork, so everyone can get on the same page. And again, the numbers just back it all up. This isn't a small tool, it's a robust platform. You've got over 20 specialized calculators, more than 3,200 events logged, and like we said, over 1,500 simulations run. It's not just a piece of software, it's a living, breathing ecosystem for mine planning. You know, they say a tool is only as good as the person who made it, and that's so true here. So let's talk about the mind behind the machine, because this really adds a whole new level of trust and credibility to the entire story. This suite was developed by Mrityunjay Kumar. And let me be clear, this isn't some big tech company that decided to dabble in mining. This is a genuine mining expert, a PhD researcher and educator who built a tool to solve the exact problems he knows inside and out. I mean, just look at his credentials. They really speak for themselves. A PhD in rock mechanics, a bachelor's in mining and mineral engineering. His entire career has been about bridging that huge gap between high-level academic research and the practical, get-it-done tools that engineers desperately need in the field. And all of that really leads us to this one perfect line that sums it all up. Built by a mining engineer, for mining engineers. That phrase just says it all, doesn't it? It screams authenticity. It tells you this was designed with a true insider's understanding of the daily struggles and challenges. So I guess that brings us to the final question, and this one's for every planner watching. With a tool like this out there, are you ready to modernize your workflow? Are you ready to finally unify your planning process, from the very bedrock you're digging into all the way up to the balance sheet? It's definitely something to think about. Thanks for joining me.